What if our planet had rings like those around Saturn? Would we even notice them? How would they affect our lives? And would they make Earth more or less attractive to potential alien visitors? All great questions, and we're going to try and answer all of them in this video. So let's get started. So first things first, would we even notice these rings? The answer is probably not unless we were actually looking up at the sky at just the right moment. You see, while Saturn's rings are hundreds of miles wide, they are only about 100 feet thick. That's thinner than the height of a basketball court, and that's for the largest ones. The others are much thinner than that. And since these rings aren't solid, but rather made up of countless smaller chunks of ice and rock, they would be practically invisible from Earth unless sunlight hit them just right, making them sparkle. But let's say that we were looking up at the sky at just the right moment and we did notice these rings. Would they affect our lives? The answer is probably not much. While some of Saturn's rings are hundreds of miles wide, the same would be true of Earth's rings. They'd likely only be noticeable near the poles. And unlike Saturn, which has rings that extend more than 180,000 miles from its equator, Earth's rings would be much smaller. In fact, they wouldn't even circle the planet. Instead, they'd form a sort of oval around Earth's magnetic poles. Why an oval? Because it turns out that Earth's magnetic field has two distinct poles, the geographic North Pole and the magnetic South Pole, which are fairly close to each other, and then the geographic South Pole and the magnetic North Pole, which are separated by roughly 11 degrees of longitude. And so that's how our rings would form, connecting the two magnetic poles. So what would these rings actually be made of? Well, it's hard to say because no one's ever seen them, but scientists think that they might be composed of dust and small ice particles kicked up from the poles themselves. After all, both the Earth's North Pole and South Pole are covered in ice. In fact, the North Pole has the largest continuous field of ice on the planet, but why would there be a giant ring around this frozen wasteland? Well, the prevailing theory among scientists is that these rings are formed by the action of the jet stream, which circulates around the pole, kicking up small particles of ice into the atmosphere. These particles then become trapped in a layer of the atmosphere known as the mesosphere, which extends from about 31 to 50 miles above the Earth's surface and where temperatures can reach as low as negative 100 degrees Celsius. Eventually, these particles freeze and form thin sheets of ice, which then reflect sunlight and form the rings. So are they good or bad? Would these rings make Earth more or less attractive to aliens? We'd like to think that they'd make Earth more attractive, like some kind of cosmic jewelry, but unfortunately we have a feeling that most aliens would probably disagree. You see, while Saturn's rings may be beautiful to us, they're actually quite deadly. Every year, thousands of Saturn's moons pass between the planet and its rings, causing massive eruptions of ice and rock that can last 4 days. If Earth had rings, we can guarantee that our peaceful nights would be interrupted by massive rumblings as chunks of ice rain down from the sky. Not exactly a nice way to end it night. Then again, maybe we're overreacting. After all, no one's ever been hurt by Saturn's rings because no human has ever been close enough to them. Most of what we know about the rings comes from the Cassini space probe, which orbited Saturn from 2004 to 2017, and the closest that any human has ever come to Saturn was the Voyager 1 probe, which flew by the planet in 1980. And so until we have more information about the exact composition and structure of Saturn's rings, we can only speculate about the dangers that they might pose to life as we know it. But one thing is for sure, they definitely make for some pretty spectacular views. Just don't look up at the sky on a Tuesday. It's gonna be a rough night. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about what might be hiding in our own solar system, check out our video on the planet that could have killed Earth. Or for something completely different, check out our video on the weirdest animals that have ever existed. Thanks for watching.